Mm-hmm. Fuck it, we'll do it live. I mean, good afternoon, everybody. Okay, Professor Farnsworth. I mean, Caucasian Sasquatch. Fuck. Okay. Today is 17 March 2023. Days are getting a little bit blurry for me. How's my sound? You don't everybody answer at once. See, we're actually a couple minutes early now, and there's some people that don't love that. Oh, wait, this is May. So apparently my sound is working. That's awesome. It's the first good news with all of this I've ever had. So I'm just kind of shit a few minutes, wait for somebody to start heckling me. Oh my god. It's not cold at all. I'm fucking broiling. Standing next to a 200-degree hot box all day long. You have no concept of what that does to you. Actually, Ozzy might, but he'd have opposite effect. Being in Canada winter, that suck. I should start dragging somebody back here backstage to shoot the shit with for the pre-show. Hey, that's not a bad idea. Maybe the next ex Mrs. Carey. See if I can reach her. Oh, oh, hey, exiled. Just got called out twice because I put it up there. Oh, I'm sorry, Sam, not Larry. You syndicated Sasquatch shills? Not exactly sure what that means in context, but okay. We got a couple minutes to kill. So I am going to be putting a new video out with the help of a party who kind of inspired it. It's not nothing exciting. This is not, what is it, Alita, are you ready level stuff. This is just actually technical, boring. Jesus, I wish that clock would roll over one more minute. Believe it or not, I am stone cold sober today. I don't. I love that. Ladies and gentlemen, I love it. I hate you because you've got 1,000 subs already and I still don't. I fucking hate you. I want you to know that. Anyway. Oh, I forgot to change my name back to something else fucked up. Today it's hi, my name is Trouble. Okay, it is now time, so let's do the thing. Today is 17 May 2023. Thank you, Ozzy. Um, so let's take a look at what my work list for today is. Alice shooting, AR-15 ban, LGBT issues, and trolls. And I'm going to be going over the Preamble and Title I of Daetslov Act and the first purpose. Okay, let's get into Allen, Texas. Man drives into a strip, not a strip mall, but not an actual mall either. It's a outlet center. And opens fire and kills, I think it was 8 people. Okay. All right. That happened. You know what? I'm going to go one big step further. After the passage of Daetslov Act, after the passage of mandatory carry, that's probably going to happen once in a while. The military refers to it as violence of action, but it's commonly referred to as shock and awe. He hit them so hard that by the time most of the people even understood there was a problem, people were already dead. Okay, that part happened. Let's not pretend it didn't. All right. First of all, let's talk about the shooter himself. All right. I'm going to partially break our policy on naming suspects in shootings because he's from Texas and his name is Garcia. That is not a white guy's name. It's not. Get over it. Could it be the name of a Spaniard? Yeah, that's true. Okay. But if any of you actually believe that this guy is a pure-blood Spaniard, you're fucking retarded. And I can't help you. I can't. With that in mind, mainstream media wants us to believe that this guy was a right-wing death squad supporter. Hey, Bill. This guy was a right-wing death squad supporter, and that he was a neo-Nazi. Does that fucking make any sense at all? A Hispanic neo-Nazi. Anybody? I would love to see one person say yes. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. Fuck you. I'm not buying it. Not seeing any yeses, so that's not a good sign. Okay. We're going to throw a flag on the play. Well, actually, Ozzy threw the flag on the play. All right. That's it's kind of debatable, Ozzy, and I don't have time to argue about that right now. One way or the other. I don't have time to argue about that right now. It isn't as cut and dry as certain parties want us to believe. Moving on. If you for a second believe, you know what? Let me put this a different way. I know Ozzyville and Squatch are out there. So I'm specifically turning to the three of you and saying, Y or N, yes or no, do you guys believe that this guy was a white supremacist? Okay, we got our first answer is a no from Violence is Life. Second answer was Ozymandias with a no. And there's a third one, but I haven't. Oh no, that's Vil with a miss loaded chat. Don't worry, dear. I do it all the time. Usually when I'm on watching Ghost stream, it's kind of weird. Okay, so that's 2 out of 3. Come on, Squatch. We need your yes or no. Come on, buddy. We know you're out there. We're all waiting on Caucasian Sasquatch to tell us Y or N if he believes that this guy could possibly be a white supremacist. You're holding up the whole parade here, Squatch. I even have my glasses on for you guys. Come on. You know how uncomfortable these things are on my face? At any rate, I'm just going to move on from here. 2008, he was, okay. I'm going to take that as a no. So 3 out of 3 viewers at the moment do not believe that this man could possibly be a white supremacist. Amazing. A Hispanic who can't possibly be a white supremacist. And yet, would you fucking believe me if I told you that there are there are media stories out there, op-ed pieces, actually, I guess I should say, that say, yes, non-white white supremacy is a thing. The things you must have to do to be able to write that, I mean, I was very, very proud of myself back in 1997 when I came up with a way of defining a musket as an assault weapon. I was very proud of myself. More than 1 round per minute. I'm pretty sure that was what the thing I used. The metric. Ha! See, Lieutenant, I did pay attention. I do not want to hear about that, Bill. You want to see somebody go full on carry. Say that. Repeat that to Papa Carey. He used some bad words. Not the kind of language I'm known to use, but he used some bad words. F-bombs, multiple F-bombs. For folks, well, I am referring to this comment by Violence is Life. They called Larry Elder the blackface of white supremacy. Well, that's going to have to wait. Somebody's calling me as we speak. I think I know what that was. You know what? It's going to have to wait now. Told him when to call, and this isn't it. Right. Where was I? Ladies and gentlemen. Okay. He was discharged from the Army in 2008 for psychiatric reasons. Now, I was almost discharged from the Coast Guard in 2003 for psychiatric reasons. I'm going to say this the way it really is. I was falsely accused of being suicidal. But you'd be surprised how easy it is to push somebody into very, very bad depression with a false accusation. You can actually push them the direction you want them to go with a false accusation. Is it possible that he was falsely accused of mental health issues and it drove him the direction that he eventually went? Stupider things have happened. I'm not buying it. All right. It's been 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 15 years. I'm not buying that. And, well, specifically gaslighting. I wasn't going to get into the big technical terms, but we're there now. It's been 15 years. He's had time to recoup and recover his life. I'm just going to say this the way it is. No, he was batshit fucking crazy. He was, well, no, I take it back. He may not have been crazy. He may have just been fucking evil. Just plain old fucking evil. All right. He gets this idea into his head that he is going to use shock and awe to shoot up this outlet center. Now, for those of you that have never been to an outlet center, it's like a single-deck, unroofed mall. It's the good old-fashioned-ish plaza. Parking area is always in the center, so you can easily reach all of the businesses exactly the same. When I was working nights as a security guard, because I was so exhausted on my way coming home, there was a outlet center about 20-minute drive from work. I would drive the 20 minutes. I would take about an hour-long nap, and then I'd go home. I was just fresh enough to be able to roll into the house without falling asleep behind the wheel. It's easy to get in. It's easy to get out. You've got clear access to everybody in sight. That indicates a clarity of thinking that a person who's not guilty by reason of by reason of insanity is not capable of. That's called planning and strategizing. I want to go back to this comment by Bill. False accusations and gaslighting. I've heard a bunch of flagrantly false. Yes, I'm going there. Flagrantly false accusations of false flag. This is not a false flag. This thing happened. But the definition of a false flag is not that it didn't happen. It's when you make sure that the blame gets put on the other side. One of the most infamous false flag events is when Nazi not Sturmbellington, but the other one that I can't pronounce. Nazi SS. Troops in German uniforms charged into a German radio station that had been broadcasting anti-Polish propaganda for a couple of years at that point. and killed everyone in sight. The entire thing was set up to look like Poles did it as a pretext for war. This jack-off joke, this masturbatory mistake in Allen, Texas, had a patch on, supposedly, that said Right Wing Death Squad, RWDS. Don't even mention Tonkin Gulf to me. Right, where was I? That is a false flag. It's closer than my spelling anyway. All right, guys, I am going to go back over the chat. That is not possible. You cannot join the military if you are an illegal immigrant. That is illegal. All right. The Ozzy asked if the guy's LARPing. No. Live action role play, by definition, means nobody actually gets hurt. Okay. I can kind of see that. Ozzy's about to ask. Ozzy did ask. Want to bet? Illegal to vote as well? Well, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of illegal things, but the military actually does check. There's a certain gentleman in the Reading area. He was a state senator? Yeah. He was a state senator when I was growing up, who, because he had joined the military, he was eligible for citizenship, but because of some sort of time issue, he actually had to go down into Mexico, hang out down there for a half an hour, turn around, come back to the United States to be legal. It's a long story. Good luck with the truck, Squatch. I know you've been having no luck with getting that Class B. So I hope the truck at least works out for you. The simple fact of the matter is, county clerks don't actually check your citizenship status. They don't check. They're supposed to. They don't do it. They do, however, check which party you are more likely to vote with, which is why I have not voted since the Gore-Bush contest. Let's see. When it was Bush re-election, the hell did he run against? I don't even remember now. My ballot came in 2 weeks late. Next time, they promised me they'd fix it. It came in 2 weeks after the election again. And then when it was Barack versus Barack's re-election. Anyway, when it was time for Barack's re-election, I got called from jury duty, but I was military living out of state. I said that like 5 fucking times when I'm asking to be exempt. I figured they'd have me fill out a form or something that I'd have to take to my command and have them sign it. The little bitch unlisted me from the voter registration right then and there. Thank you. Ozzy, it was Romney the second time. I haven't even. Well, no. I did register to vote in Oregon. I did not get my presidential election ballot from Oregon. Huh. Okay. I'm going to have to start dealing with that. That's my problem. So, no, it is actually illegal for somebody to join the military as an illegal alien. Foreign citizen, yes, that's very possible. I served with, oh, oh, geez, quite a few, actually. Um, as a matter of fact, I was there as fixed bayonets, was being sworn in as a U.S. citizen. After she got out of the Marines, she switched from Marines to Coast Guard. The Marines screwed some paperwork up very, very badly, and they finally got it fixed when she got into the Guard. That was about 8 or 9 years. She'd been in 8 or 9 years at that point. You know what? I lost track. Okay. Anyway, this guy from Texas is supposedly a right-wing nut job, and yet he has a name. He's Hispanic. Let's just finish it. He's Hispanic, but he's supposedly a white supremacist. Pick a fucking story. He was discharged from the military for psych reasons. Okay. But he passed multiple background checks after that. Not one, not two, but apparently about 4. All right. Amongst them to be a security guard and then an armed guard in Texas. Oh, dear, dear. So, I would love for all of my critics to explain to me how they would have prevented this. Now, I'm just going to get there. Their only line is to say, well, then we have to ban the guns. Except that's not their only line, is it? Their other line is, well, how about a mental health evaluation? You mean the one that got him discharged from the military? How about that one? Did you think about that one? No, actually, you didn't. He had a mental health evaluation. He'd been discharged from the military for it. Oh, excuse me. So that story isn't washing anymore. Don't even waste my time with that. All right. He passed multiple background checks after that. Where did the system fail us? Well, it did fail us when we didn't allow we didn't check military record. That security guard application should have absolutely hit on that military discharge. So that tells me it did. That's one of the things they actually check for. If you were in the military and you were discharged, anything other than an actual honorable discharge, they look into it. And they are allowed to look into it to the fullest possible degree. Now, if it's a medical discharge, kind of stops there. But a psych discharge does not. I should know because I had to explain my discharge from 2003 when I went for my guard card. Yes, I was discharged generally under honorably because the war ended. They didn't need me anymore. Oh, we're sorry. You're right. Bill, Julian Noir has an excellent expose of the guard card issue. Ozzy, do you think you could pull that link up for Bill? Drop it in the chat, please. All right. Sorry, guys. One of the other reasons I need an assistant in here is to keep me on topic. If Bill, if he can't, I will send it to you on Discord. Viewers afterwards, it'll be in the pinned uh, uh, pinned comment. Even though I don't like doing that. All right, moving on. Here it is. Very, very simple. Oh, I might have sent it too. Thank you, Ozzy. Be sure it's the right one, though. The system actually didn't fail. It's as simple as that. It did work the way it was supposed to, and that's not the way it should be working. Why was he not flagged during his guard card application? I don't know. They failed. Well, let me rephrase that. Systems did fail. They failed to note that. Thank you, Ozzy. I'm going to give that a little bit of show. Okay. Oops. I forgot to do that. Okay, back to comments. All right. There's only so much you can do at the end of the day. That's never going to really change much. Their next answer is always, well, then we got to ban the guns. Okay, well, I thought I'd been over this. Oh, right, because I have been over this. Actually, Phil, I'm going to ask for your help later. In Star Trek 5? 4. Yeah, The Final Frontier. The one about the colony world with the Romulans, Klingons, and Federation all there supposedly living in harmony, and no, it's anything but harmony because it's a shit planet. Not a hell world, but it's a shit planet. Any of you remember this one? Well, I'm going to tell you. There's this really great line. Oh, John St. Talbot, played by Christopher Warner. Rest in peace. Is sitting there talking shit about this planet. The dregs of the galaxy. The people we conned into coming here, they were the dregs of the galaxy. We forbade them weapons, they simply fashioned their own. Now, because he's a very, very true Brit, he may have said, and, or so, they simply fashioned their own. All right, I'll take that. But the fact of the matter is, yeah, they simply fashion their own. There's an earlier scene where one of the dregs of the galaxy that they conned into coming here is doing exactly that. He's using a bolt action rifle to try to kill Cybok as he approaches. Oh, thank you. Nimbus 3, thank you, Ozzy. And yes, it was Final Frontier. All right. Yes, that's correct, Ozzy, thank you. Nimbus 3. We forbade them weapons, they simply fashioned their own. Now, I covered this in the greatest detail I can without actually doing the thing in Gun Control Has Failed. Give me a second, guys. I want to make sure I'm headed the right direction. Okay. They banned all of the weapons so that people simply fashion their own. Hi, Macy. Shit. No, show it you. There we go. The name of the city was Paradise, but somebody had painted the word lost over the name. I didn't remember that detail. Moving right along. Short of actually doing all of the components, making the receiver, making the barrel, rifling the barrel, and putting it all together, which is what Alan did, by the way. I think I demonstrated that you can't ban guns. It's not going to work. Bad guys will simply get them anyways. Now, they will probably go with simple blowback slam fire guns. And then, excuse me, fine. They go with blowback slam fire. So what? It works. It kills all just the same. That's not going to happen, Ozzy. This is literally the moment I learned about this. Vil, please send me that information on Discord soonest possible. Thank you. Let's talk about a country that has a lot of guns. Switzerland. They actually have something like one gun for every 1.5 people in the country. It gets worse than that. They actually have one assault weapon for every 2 adults. That's a lot of assault weapons. They're either assault weapons or machine guns, right? Either you're a rifleman or you're a machine gunner. That's kind of simple there, all right? And they have one of those for every 2 adults. But it gets worse because about a third, because they have national military service requirements. But it gets worse because about half of the people, when they leave the service, they give the Swiss government the replacement cost of the weapon. If this is a $1,000 gun, if they're going to have to pay It's not francs. It's what the hell do they call their currency? Let's just say dollars for a second, right? If the Swiss government's going to have to pay $1,000 to replace this gun, you hand over a check for $1,000 plus about $200 for the gun to go down to the armory to be converted to semi-auto only, and it goes home with you. Damn. Okay, that's an interesting detail. Thank you, Ozzy. You can ban the guns all you want. Thank you. Excuse me, I'm about to sneeze. You can ban the guns all you want. It's not going to do any good. They'll simply fashion their own. And if they can't do really rudimentary blowback operated slam fire, then they'll do very sophisticated straight pole bolt. Thank you, Macy. 3-month-old. Okay. It's not going to do any good. It's still not going to do you any good. Ban them all you want. It'll never do any good. What part of this do people like you not understand? I'm kind of harping on a subject early, so I got to kind of get back on track. AR-15 ban. There's a push to ban AR-15s again. First of all, besides the fact that that does actually violate the Second Amendment, just go with me here. It won't do any good. People like me with the ability to do so will just start producing them anyway for spite. We will literally set up AR-15 factories in our garages or in our barns or in our garden sheds and start making them for spite. Not even air rifles like Ozzy's talking about. No. Real guns. The kind that are regulated. PA, Ludi proved that in absolute spades. Philip A. Ludi developed a 9mm, I think it was, submachine gun, which means automatic, possibly automatic only, by the way, that could be made from parts that could not be sourced. That is to say, law enforcement could not use the source of the weapons to track them. There was zero actual gun parts. You took them home, you turned them into guns, including the barrel. All right, so a little bit of my personal history here. And I've been over this before, and I'll be over it a million more times. My support for any kind of gun control absolutely and totally died and was murdered in 2005 when me and Brent went out shooting my 9mm. I legally had the 9mm. I was in the service at the time. He had made a lower receiver for the just to prove that he could do it, right? He did it right there in front of me. We went out there, we shot it. I said, okay, well, that's great, but you can't make a barrel. He disassembled the gun and showed me the homemade barrel. And this is not a simple piece either. The barrel on a Beretta 92, which is military's M9, has 3 parts, and they have to move together correctly for the gun to work. He was able to do that part. Oh my God! Somebody said one of my favorite words: junkyard wars. That's scrap heap. Excuse me, scrap heap challenge in Britain, by the way. I know because I saw the scrap heap challenge version a few times. They also built some really interesting other military application equipment in those junkyards, including a one-man sub that actually did work. I remember the one guy was really annoyed to have been working on the switch for 3 or 4 hours, only to be told, yeah, we don't need the switch after all. It's not enough voltage to worry about or something like that. The guy's looking up, wait, you had me working on this all this time for no reason? So anyway. Yeah, I know, that was another tangent. Sorry, guys. People like me will just ignore that rule, and we don't care. This is actually not about the law. It's about proving that the law is fundamentally flawed. It's just a simply bad idea to begin with. It's not going to work. This is like passing a law saying you can't wear a cover in the rain. The hell? Do you really think people are going to stop wearing covers? Or banning umbrellas? What? Explain this to us and use small words, because I want to know that you know the words that you are using. I'm also reminded of the 90s assault weapons ban, and how at the time it was the AK-47 that everybody was all terrified and was on every single press release. Now, I know somebody's going to bring up the incident of Dianne Feinstein waving the gun at a crowd. Well, yes, that part happened. The gun was not loaded. She said it was not loaded. Don't give me any of that Baldwin gun shit. I don't want to hear about it right now. Oh, okay. Have a good night, Bill. I hope you catch the rerun. There's more coming later. So don't give me any of this Baldwin gun shit. Okay? I don't want to hear about it right now. She did it as a demonstration to the crowd. This is how easy it is to sweep the gun across the crowd. Across a crowded room. Seems to me somebody's been changing their story. In the 90s, it was the AK-47. Now all of a sudden it's the AR-15. What's going to be next? What's your next story going to be? Is it going to be the P90 because it's so small and compact? I'd love to hear what your next story is going to be. Please, by all means, tell me. It's not going to work, and you're wasting time. And even if you do get it passed, let me add, I can goddamn guarantee you, I can name off the top of my head at least 3 of the organizations that literally their bread and butter is fighting gun laws. Second Amendment Foundation, Firearms Policy Foundation, also known as Firearm Policy Coalition because that's their fundraiser arm, and Gun Owners of America. GOA was the one that successfully fought the bump stock ban. So, you know what? Actually, by all means, please get that law passed so that we can spend millions of taxpayer dollars defending bad law and accomplish absolutely fucking nothing. You can waste hundreds of millions of taxpayer dollars to accomplish nothing. At this point, we should start charging the members of Congress, the members of the state legislatures, the governors, and the president who agree with these laws. If you voted yes, or if you signed it in any way, now you have to pay that bill because you have defrauded the people of the United States or the state of California or whoever out of hundreds of millions of dollars that you did not legally have a right to touch. We know this because you passed a bad law. The Supreme Court said it was a bad law. It was an illegal. Hey, Shadow. Said it was an illegal law. So you doubled down on one criminal act, an illegal act, with a second act to try to defend it. It's kind of funny. All right. It's promotion day. Oh, well, anyway. Yeah, nobody ever knocks into this dive anyway. So don't worry about it. Yeah, you should not be allowed to defend an illegal act by a legal one. We need to start holding these governors, especially. I'm just going to say the governors, especially, accountable for their actions. Yes, you are, Shadow. You can thank Sam for that. All right. Where was I? Yes. Enough of these stupid, useless laws, all right, that accomplish the exact opposite of what you said they would do, which, by the way, would include the 1991 assault weapons ban and the 1994 Safe Schools Act. They did nothing except create a death zone. No, he is not, Squatch. Don't even give him a big head like that, please. All right, LGBT, whatever issues. This is a little bit more personal, right? The on my personal Facebook profile, not my professional one, I had a call out by not really a friend. She's on my friends list, but she's not a friend. Accusing me of homophobia. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I do not give a flying fuck, an actual flying fuck, if you are gay or lesbian or bi or trans or any of that other shit. That is not relevant to me. I could not care less if I tried. All right. If you are a lesbian, obviously, I'm not going to be sleeping with you. If you are gay, obviously, I am not going to be sleeping with you. I will respect your decisions in this regard. I don't care. It's actually none of my fucking literally business. Any one of you who can point out where gay or lesbian or trans, it's homosexual or bisexual or trans are exemptions under Daetslov, by all means, show me of all people, because I goddamn guarantee you, I can't find it. Now, as Macy points out, don't push it on me. Right. I don't want to hear about it. I really, it's none of my business unless I'm sleeping with you. And if you are a guy, I am not sleeping with you. That's not going to happen. I hope I've made this clear enough, because if I have to make it clear again, I'm going to use the bad words. The F-bomb, the N-bomb, a few K-bombs. I might even drop a P-bomb on your ass. And a P-bomb is something along the lines of, I'm going to go grab Fixed Bayonet's strap-on and turn her loose on you. Don't want to hear it again. All right. Carrie, can you clarify your thoughts on LGBT movement? Lesbian, gay, bisexual. Okay. Don't need your takes on the trans or queer. All right. If you are gay, you are a man who prefers sex with men. If you are a lesbian, you are a woman who prefers sex with lesbians. If you're bisexual, you like them both. Sometimes equally, sometimes not equally. It's not a secret. Fixed Bayonets is totally bi. About a year ago, roughly a year ago, well, a little over a year ago, in February 2020, when Brent, her husband, passed away, her and Angel were living together for a few months before they got married. They tried to continue on as a lesbian couple. It got to be so bad that the neighbors were actually calling the cops, and their neighbors, the nearest house is a quarter of a mile away. When the two of them are fighting so loudly that their neighbors a quarter of a mile away can tell who's fighting and can call the cops, that's a bad sign. So I was called in to figure out what the hell was going on. I walked into that house and the estrogen almost gagged me. It was that bad. That's funny, Ozzy, because it's true. Moving on. So I actually made them get a boyfriend. The house has been peaceful ever since. Not only have the cops not been called, you know what? Every once in a while, Angel goes out to the guest house and stays there for the night because whatever. Every once in a while, Fix Bayonets goes out to the guest house because she just needs a little time alone. And very often, the boy goes out to the guest house and stays there by himself overnight because he needs a little time alone. Oh, yeah, he's got one really hot bitch and one pretty girl. Yeah, Angel, you're a pretty girl. Don't try to deny it anymore. Um, no. Fix is a hot bitch. See, I know they're listening in. So, fuck all y'all. And every once in a while, he just needs to go out and be by himself. The boy may not be listening in. He might be out in the field. It is what it is. She's absolutely no exception by. What the fuck? Megaphone became BattlePod. Your autocorrect is fucked. And no, it's Veritech. Moving on. And Alpha, by the way, just saying. Okay. I want to just fucking hammer this point until I'm tired of hearing me say it. I don't care. It's not relevant. Nobody cares. Next fool that brings the subject up with me is probably going to get banned because I'm getting tired of it. The fact that I'm a Second Amendment supporter, an absolute Second Amendment supporter, does not mean that I hate gays. On a related-ish note, no, this is ancient history. Chris Chang made the cover of Recoil magazine because he's a fucking incredibly awesome shooter. That man probably really could snipe a flea off a dog's back at 1,000 yards. I'm not sure that that's a joke with him, or an exaggeration, or braggadocio. I think he might actually be able to do it. That's how he got on the cover of Recoil magazine, and no other that I know of. I'd be if I were to say that they were doing the woke thing, be more likely because he's Asian, not because he's gay, because you wouldn't know it. Can't hide being Asian. Gee, I wish I could bring this up later. I want to bring it up now because this is going to tie into first purpose. Macy says, I'm a Second Amendment supporter because I hate crime and tyranny. Oh. What in the cornbread hell is wrong with you, Shadow? No. Correction. What all is wrong with you? And please list them in alphabetical order in case I need to look them up later. All right, moving on. I hope I beat that horse to death enough. If I didn't, I'm going to say some bad words on an open mic. You want to hear the words I'm going to be using? Squatch ass. Whoa. All right, the chat is going to go away for a moment. You know it's time to shut your computer down for a couple days when you're closing 5 million fucking windows because you haven't closed them in a month. Probably not quite true, but sure as hell looked like it. Okay. Go to Discord. No. Sorry, guys. I should have gotten this up and out earlier. Excuse me while I whip this out. Shit. Motherfucker. God. Oh, yeah. Of course it is. Must be Discord then. Of course they're doing that again because they hate me. They're assholes. Alright. Sorry guys, I'm trying to keep up here. Saying currently reading Rome's Revolution. That's how Octavian saved Rome. Okay, I'm going to stop the screen for a moment because we I'm going to be looking at something else for a moment. Present, share screen, window, Act 1. All right, hide that because we don't need to see that every fucking time. Okay, good. This should be clear then. Daetslov Act, Second Amendment Revision, National Mandatory Carry Act. Effective a date. The Second Amendment of the Constitution of the United States is hereby repealed and replaced as follows. I cannot actually amend an amendment. All right. Otherwise, this 26th Amendment would actually read, the Second Amendment of the United States of America is hereby amended as follows. It is what it is. A well-protected public being necessary to the security of free state, the duty of the people to keep and bear arms shall be enforced strictly as provided for in this amendment. All right. The very, very original version did not have strictly as provided for in this amendment. It wasn't there. I had to add that. I actually had to add that section about a year and a half ago, I think it was, in order to combine the amendments and the Enabling Act so that people would never be able to go back and say, oh, no, they didn't mean that, or they meant this, or no, fuck you. I figured out real quick that people who are opposed to this would work to pass it so that they could write the Enabling Act to actually ban anything that made this amendment worth anything. Title I, to provide for the enforcement of the duty to keep and bear arms. The phrase, the duty to keep and bear arms shall mean all arms in general, and firearms in particular, with special attention for handguns and pistols in immediate possession, long arms and shotguns in vehicles and homes. The phrase Mandatory Carry Act used in this act shall mean the provisions of this act requiring the bearing of arms. Okay. For those of you that say this is about guns and only guns, no. No. All arms are covered, and down in definitions, it actually covers body armor and PPE. You can wear a mask in public. You could choose to wear a mask until hell freezes over and God dies. It's not a good idea, but it's not my place to tell you you can't. You can't be mandated to wear a mask beyond, I think it's 30 days for a presidential approval and 10 days for a governor. The best end run around that might be the president says it, and then to buy an extra 10 days, the governors turn around and say it the day the presidential mandate runs out. There's ways of extending it. Basically, every 30 days at a time, Congress could say, yeah, we're renewing this mandate. State legislatures, I think it was for 30 days, could extend it, but they have to keep extending it every 30 days. You can wear body armor. You can carry pepper spray. I made sure to include everything. Now, I did not define everything. What is a sword? What is a pike? What is a spear? What is a morning star? Because at some point, there's just too many. I couldn't even begin to cover the few things I know about. The difference between a pike and a spear. A pike is a short spear. Okay, well, what the hell is a spear? And how do you define between a pike, just a pike, and a proper spear? Because technically speaking, a rifle with a bayonet, it's not a spear, it's a pike. It wasn't even worth the trouble of beginning to go through that list. All right. As a matter of fact, I had started to at one point and then realized how ridiculous this was getting, just deleted everything. I had knives and swords and spears at that point and realized, no, this is ridiculous. I'm not doing this. I'm not playing this game. All right. I'm going to close this up. It does pay special attention on handguns. That's true. Right? You go into public and you don't have a handgun, you're probably in trouble. It's a little more flexible about the subject of rifles and shotguns. But if you go into public with your rifle on your shoulder, you're obeying the technical definition of the act. Having a rifle without a pistol is kind of stupid, but hey, you know what? That's the decision you made. All right. I'm going to go back over the chat because I did go off onto something else for a moment. And I want to make sure that we don't have questions later. Macy, my buddy Dan thinks I'm a computer genius when I get his working again. All I do is close dozens of tabs he leaves open. I am your buddy Dan. Shadowhawk, does this allow me to own a musket for home defense as the founding fathers intended? No. So that I can blow a mango-sized hole in the first of 4 rapscallions who burglarized my home? Yes. No, you cannot have a musket. Musket is not adequate anymore. Sorry, you're going to have to get a big bore rifle. Macy had to jet, so damn, I'm sorry I missed that. Shadow, a pike is a spear that needs 2 hands to be used effectively. A spear can be used in 1 or 2 hands. No, apparently a pike is a very short spear. You go argue with the British Royal Armoury. Right? You really want that battle? You go argue with the British Royal Armoury. I don't have time to argue with the British Royal Armoury. And Ozzy wants us to ban spear throwers because that's where it starts. Hey, no, but he might have a point there. Oh. Okay. All right. You know what? You go argue with the Royal Armoury. Either way, I'm not doing it. I don't have that kind of time. For those of you that are like absolutely clueless as to what I'm talking to, including Shadow, just after Dunkirk, the British Army was devastated, first of all, and second of all, had lost like 90% of their weapons. They needed to rearm, they needed to reman quickly. So they formed something called the Home Guard? I think it was the Home Guard. Churchill made a speech about forming this home Guard, and that every man would be armed with a cudgel, mace, or pike if it came to that. One of his advisors took that hyperbolic statement, perhaps a little too literally, collected up something like 10,000 bayonets, and the bayonets stripped of their grips and then put into, I think it was 4-foot long steel steel tubes, and then welded into place. Churchill's critics seized upon that as a moment of ridicule, saying something to the effect of, if this is a joke, then it's an extremely poor taste. There we go. Thank you, Ozzy. Home Guard. Is it 1 word or 2? I'm pretty sure it was 2 words. Doesn't matter. They made all of these cross pikes, by the way. I'm going to drop that to the chat. Okay. Croft's Pikes. Lord Croft, I think, was the Secretary of or Minister of War. I believe he was the Minister of War, and as I said, his critic, Churchill's critic, seized upon that as a moment of just pure ridicule. Had nothing to do with the reality of the situation on the ground. Had nothing to do with the fact that Britain wouldn't have any new guns for another 6 months. Had nothing to do with the fact that those pikes would be very, very unpleasant for a German paratrooper who got close enough, or who tried to go into somebody's house, or 100 other situations where that pike probably could have killed them. Now, it had everything to do with making fun of Churchill because we're arming our home guard with pikes. To the best of my knowledge, at this time, there's only about a dozen originals left. Those are all at the Royal Armory at, God damn it, it starts with S. Swalsburg, something like that. Where they're just kept for reference purposes. They're not even kept for display purposes. They're kept for reference purposes. That was actually a decent film that Ozzy brought up. Britain would not have any new guns for another 6 months at that point, at which point the Sten gun went into widespread service. The Sten gun is a blowback operated 9mm. Yeah, I think it's 9mm submachine gun. It was the absolutely simplest, most basic thing possible. 90% of the parts were fabricated in people's basements, including barrels. One house would make barrels, another house would make firing pins, another house would make another house would make bolt carriers, another house would be making stocks. And then all of these parts would be rounded up, go to another house where they were assembled into guns. That's how it worked. Okay, well, Shadow, if you can say goodbye on your way out, we all appreciate it, but if you can't, we understand. It would take several years for Britain to come back from the disaster, flat-out disaster at Dunkirk. Be that as it may or may not. Where was I going with this? Oh. I got off topic again, so sorry, guys. It covers everything. Just because special emphasis is given to one subject or another doesn't mean the others aren't covered. Everything's protected. Unless it is specifically listed in Daetslov, no, you can't have that. Yeah, you can have that. Matter of fact, because of the curious way I wrote it, you can have an RPG-7, but you can only use training rounds because explosives are restricted. But the training round is inert, does not have a charge in it. Have fun. Hey, Ozzy, be nice. Shadow is our friend.
Now, there was a subject I deliberately skipped for a moment, and I want to make sure I got everything else. We're about hour and 20 minutes in, hour and 25 minutes in, hour 20. Let's be fair. All
right. So this is actually a personal message. There's a certain gentleman out there who found the Facebook page.
You have to make a choice to commit a sin, Squatch. Just saying. His only failing is youth, and that's not a choice he made either. But anyway, there's a certain gentleman who found the Facebook page. I don't know how. Actually, I think I do know how. I think this is like his 5th account. But anyway, youth is wasted on the young. He has been harping at the page ever since he got there. And I don't know how on earth he got a badge on that page. But anyway, he got it, but somebody who deserves it didn't. Explain that to me. If your whole argument boils down to, nah, you're a fucking retard or you're an absolute liar. All right. This individual has only to date brought one legitimate issue up. No, let me rephrase that. He hasn't brought any legitimate issues up. But he has managed to bring up a curious question. I have said that there are 600 gun murders in Britain with a population of 33 million people in 2017 versus a gun murder total of about 1,000 for a population of 350 million in the United States for 2017. All right. Now, I'm not sure everybody can math exactly the same, but that's roughly with a population 10 times as big. The United States only had a little over half as many gun murders in 2017 versus Britain. There's a problem with those numbers. There's an issue. I had to extrapolate the 33 million number because Britain routinely reports their populations together. Britain absolutely routinely reports Wales as part of Britain, even though other sources split them off. My source for the number of gun murders in Britain for that year split Wales off. Wales was in the double digits, despite roughly a third the population of, once I figured it all out, roughly a third the population of Britain. It's like 20, 30, despite having a population, 2/3, around 20 million. Scotland, with a population of around 15 million, if I recall correctly, had only 12 gun murders for 2017. That's actually pretty low numbers especially when you compare them to Britain. 600 murders versus 1,000 murders for a country with 10 times the population. All right, so here's the problem he declared. He has declared that Britain has twice the population that I quoted, 66 million. He backtracked a little bit and said maybe it's 55 million. He never actually flat out said, oops, I made a mistake. it is actually only 55 million. But he backtracked a little bit and said maybe it's only 55. I had to take 5 different sources. Britain, excuse me, the United Kingdoms, just the totality of the United Kingdoms, Scotland, Wales, uh, and North Ireland. Excuse me, 4 sources. And see what was the population of Wales, what was the population of Scotland, what was the population of North Ireland. Oh, yes, a 5th one. I had to make sure that none of this number reflected Ireland. I remember that part took me almost a day to straighten out. Does this mean Ireland or does it not mean Ireland? What is the real here? And then work out, okay, so what is the population of Britain for 2017? That's how I got to the 33 million. I remember it was actually this computer. It was one of the first real projects I ever did on this computer, going through and doing the math. Ireland's problems are not my problems there, Aussie. I don't give a shit. Oh, I haven't said this today. We love you, Susan, you cunt. Moving on. Right. Now, I cannot seem to reconstruct my sources. It is what it is. But I do know this much. The source that this gentleman keeps citing, they themselves, and he himself admits that they count Wales as part of their numbers. When I took his numbers and their numbers and subtracted Wales, I still came to 34 million. But it gets worse. I want you trolls out there to take notice of something. Let's go with the 66 million number, just for shits and giggles, right? U.S. would still have 5 times the population and only a little over half again the number of gun deaths. So, with the U.S. having 5 times the population of Britain, who had 600 gun deaths, if Britain's gun control laws were working, shouldn't the U.S.'s murders be closer to 3,000? I actually worked the gun murder numbers too. There were, for that year, 34,000? I believe it was 34,000 gun deaths. 2/3 of them were suicides. That already cuts 20,000 off 34. Leaves 14,000. 14,000, that's much bigger than the 3,000, right? It's, 9 times. But after working the numbers, it came down to around just under 1,000 actually. Now I should have worked the numbers a different way, using the FBI stats. Problem is, I couldn't find the FBI stats for that year. I don't know why. This was, by the way, 2019, so the numbers should have been out there. Right, Ozzy asks about how these rates correlate to gun violent crimes rates, I wonder. Well, here's the correlation, guys. And it is a correlation. It's not causation. It's not evidence. It's just happens to be two things that look a lot alike or have a lot in common. If the U.S. was even as violent as Britain, I mean just Britain, what is it? North and east of Wales, south of Scotland, and sitting between two bodies of water, right? Britain having 600 gun murders that year, U.S. should have shit. Having 6 times 36,000. I'm just saying. Suicide, gang crimes, accidents. I can't prove this. I really can't. 2019, I saw a video by Colin Noir where he interviewed a former British police officer who described houses that had been sprayed and prayed, quote, bullet holes everywhere. As a matter of fact, if I recall the gentleman's statement correctly, the way he described it, you could actually track where the gun was pointed from the spray pattern. There would be a few outliers, but generally speaking, the gun went like that because the guy fired, lost a little bit of his control, and then it regained it enough to put it back in the right general area. Now, I don't know if it was down like this and back, if it was up on like this and down. That's not the relevant part. The relevant part was you could actually track the barrel from the bullet holes. And he would see this every night as a cop. 99% of those 600 are what we call in the United States drive-bys. You literally drive by the target as somebody opens fire. Trolls of the universe, please take note of something. You can call out a mistake, but if it's not relevant, it's still not fucking relevant. It's not doing you any good. It's making you look like a bigger jackass. Because, well, let's be honest, you're a bigger jackass than you thought you were. If you're going to troll, at least try to make it make sense. Just try. This same troll is the one that brought to my attention the Allen, Texas shooting on the subject of open carry. Like that had anything to do with anything? This is a terrorist. This really was a terrorist attack. The guy wasn't crazy. He was a domestic terrorist. Not saying you can't be a terrorist and crazy at the same time, but no, that wasn't it. Local. I'm going to put this up. Local newspaper described the house my brother lived in as filled with bullet holes. Holes were from spray insulation, so trusting newspapers, not so much. No, apparently not. And then again, Vox did have that awesome piece where they showed the bullet hole with bullets still in it in the shell casing. I'm just saying. I think it was a 50 cal. Maybe it was a 30-06. Yeah, very, very professional, top-notch reporting there. Motherfucker. Goddamn. Holy crap. Fucking joker. Just a joker. I'm done. I'm done. Hojokers. They're all Hojokers. Where was it? Where I was out of tea, which is kind of a problem. Seeing as how I've got to go for at least another 15 minutes. All right, so to the trolls of the world, please, at least have have something relevant to say. This is the same guy who brought the Alabama dance hall shooting to my attention. Okay, it was a Sweet 16 party. That's an accepted fact. But the actual target of the shooting was her adult brother, and worse still, more people were arrested for that shooting than died in the shooting. So this isn't some lone wolf. This was an organized, planned attack. Yeah, that's not possible. I mean, I'm a reasonable shooter. I can't do that, even taking my time. Professional shooters can't do that. Maybe Delta Force guys can, but I've never met a Delta Force. I don't think I've ever met a Delta Force. I've met a couple of SEALs, which is why I stared right at their face so that I wouldn't see their name tape, so I wouldn't remember it later. And yes, they had the try. They were SEALs. Okay. All right, I'm going to just say it the way it continues to be, guys. Is the purpose of these is for questions. I want you to ask questions. Relevant questions. Looking at you, Squatch. Because I know you're going to run off and ask RGG for questions. You're gonna ask Boss for questions. Oh, damn! Sorry. So please ask me questions that are relevant. One of the few truly reasonable, relevant questions that I've ever been asked. Why am I so opposed to automatic weapons in public scene? Well, because you assholes can't shoot that well. I can't shoot that well. SEALs, they can shoot that well. Those Delta Force guys, yeah, they can shoot that well. Ozzy wants, I think, to know my opinion about white supremacy in the military, and I'll get to that in a second. See, I interpreted it as a question. You can't shoot that well. You will spray and pray and kill 5 people to get the one guy that was actually a problem. It's as simple as that. If you can show that, yes, you can actually handle that weapon that well, which means you can put all of the bullets into a man-sized target at reasonable self-defense ranges, which is, by the way, a state-specific measure. Great. Good. Go and do. But remember, your response has to be reasonable to the threat. So don't fuck it up. Right. Ozzy sort of asked me for my opinion about white supremacy in the military. Listen, I was in the service. There are white supremacists in the military. I served with a few. I also served with a Latino supremacist. Yeah, that's a thing. That is actually a fucking thing. I didn't even know it was a thing until I met this individual. I served with a couple of black supremacists. Yeah, I knew that was a thing going into the service. Um, uh, I served with an Asian supremacist. Um, they do happen. They also have a tendency to run their fucking mouths. I'm just saying that a mental illness discharge is a whole lot easier than calling somebody a Hispanic supremacist who has to be discharged because he couldn't keep his fucking mouth shut. Just saying. Um, if you have been in the service anything near long enough to get into special forces and you're anything supremacist, wow, you are really, you're good. You keep your mouth shut so tight that people don't even know your real name, but they don't know your first name. Here's a technical question that I wish I could answer. Uzi's notorious for being unable to be aimed with accuracy. Well, that is news to me. I've never heard that before. All right. Now, it may be true, but this would literally be the first I've ever heard of it. And they've been used in hostage rescue situations. So, hostage rescue situations, you have the hostage taker foot and a half away from the hostage, and yet they've worked out there. So, like I said, this is news to me. Okay. Is there a better franchise about the Pro 2A argument than Dirty Harry, even if he was exaggerating about the 44 being the most powerful handgun in the world? First of all, it was the most powerful handgun in the world at the time. It was. Based on the way I wrote Daetslov, 44 would actually be a rifle round, intermediate. Actually, I don't think that definition made it in there. Okay. I'll have to go back and check. And it's not a burning issue, so I'm not going to make a priority of it. But at the time, the 44 was the most powerful handgun in the world. And it would blow your head clean off. And yes, there is a better, franchise, maybe not. There is a much better 2A argument film. I'm just going to ramble for a moment while I wait for you guys to see if you can think of the film I have in mind. So, talking about the 44, it was actually designed just to be the 50 cal of the handgun world. The problem with the 44 as a pistol round now It's the same as the problem with the 50 cal as a rifle round. It's it's too long. All right, you cannot really handle a 50 cal round as a practical rifle round. Now that's not exactly true, and I get it. Right? Don't start screaming Barrett 82 at me. Oh my god. See, that's how well I know you people. I know the next words out of your mouth are going to be Barrett 82, Barrett 82. Um, the reality is, no, it's too big. It's too long. Going back to the 44, it's too long to fit into the clip. Yeah, it's too long to fit into the clip of a semi-auto and fit into your hand um, with a uh, reasonably. Right? Yes, there are people that it work for. I also know somebody who uses the clip on her AK-47 as the grip. I say it's an illegal SBR. She says it's a pistol. Excuse me. We will never agree on this. We will never ever agree on this. It's also automatic only. There is a safe, but there's no semi-automatic mode. And yes, it is a registered um, class 3. Nobody wants to take a guess at my better argument for the Second Amendment film? I mean, I've been prattling on here about the 44 and my friend's AK long enough. There should at least be one answer by now. Okay, well, anyway, it's a tie. It's a legitimate tie. They are All Quiet on the Western Front and Saving Private Ryan. Both of those, the men that they depict, used guns to bring order to the world. One way or another, they were bringing order to the world. Would Germany have had any chance against France and Britain without guns? No. Bare minimum. The Ethiopian campaign between the wars shows what happens when an army that is inadequately armed, they were firing muskets against the Ethiopian army was firing muskets against bolt action Italian troops. Just got mowed down. They didn't even stand a chance. By the way, if you've ever seen the movie Zulu, starring Michael Caine, this is first starring role, you also know how spear-wielding warriors against an army armed only with single-shot lever. I'm just going to say bolt action because I know you guys wouldn't quite understand this concept. Actually, my viewers probably would, but people coming in later may not entirely understand. Bolt action, single shot bolt action rifles. The Zulus got massacred. Yes, they won one very important battle. When they got to Rourke's Pass, it was not even going to begin to happen. They were absolutely destroyed. Okay, so Ozzy's going to call me out on human kinesthetics. And I think he's just shit put. God damn you. Motherfucker. No, no, show it, bitch. There. He's not entirely wrong. But in the overwhelming average, no. Hold up. Here's another question from Ozzy. Now, custom built firearms for the very, very large athletes. Wonder if that is a boutique industry. It in fact already exists. Also, the small uh, uh, industry, the small frame athletes. To the best of my knowledge, there is literally only one event in the world where all of the participants have to use the exact same uh, weapon, and it's not the exact same weapon, but they're all exactly identical. It's the Winter Olympics, one of the triathlons. It's ski, shoot, and one other. I forgot what the other one was. Um, and that event, everybody is firing a 22 caliber rifle that is tricked out specifically to that event. No, it's not ski. Um, ski, as in snow skis. Shoot gun, and one other heat, and I forgot what it was. All of those guns are exactly identical. All right, because they are actually manufactured by the Olympic Committee in their own specialized facilities. Um, to the best of my knowledge, that is the only event in the world where everybody has to use exactly the same thing. Yeah, a skeet shoot is a different thing. Skeet shoot is shotguns, and the skeet is a clay, uh, vaguely this size plate-like thing that they launch up into the air, and you have to shoot that. That's a skeet shoot. The Olympic event that I'm talking about is against paper targets. There is a skeet shoot at the Olympics, or at least there used to be. Um, and maybe they are required to use the same gun for that event. Ooh. Might have a plot twist there. Um, we love you, Susan. Um, but yes, that is, and it is a boutique industry. I mean, some of these are like $5,000, $10,000 guns. Um, you start with a $500 gun, and you start working on it. You tinker this, you tweak that, you bend something else. $5,000 later, you have the gun that works absolutely perfectly for you. And because these are big money deals, the gun companies will come, if you're good enough, will come to you and say, we will build it to your specifications. What do you want? Use words. And they will build it exactly the way you want. It's also another $10,000, whatever the hell it is. Matter of fact, I was watching a stream just last night, Ghost Tactical's stream. He was interviewing somebody that makes some of those parts that end up getting used on some of those specialty competition shoot guns. So if you get a minute, hop on over to Ghost's channel and check out yesterday's stream. And if you do, talk to Riker. Tell them Carrie sent you, Mandatory Carrie sent you, because I'm trying to get them to do something. They're not returning my emails. Let's all pretend we don't know why. All right, we're coming up into roughly the 2-hour mark now. Oh, we just crossed it, but remember, I started a few minutes early. Yeah. Ozzy says basketball players, top tier basketball players, would have the bankroll for it. Yeah, they do. A lot of others do as well. I don't. But that's totally separate subject. I don't have that kind of money. Okay. I'm going to make a plug for my other things. First of all, for Pod Home. Oh, didn't get the link. It's strictly as a Facebook page. Just look up Pod Home on Facebook. Program for homeless people. The coronavirus was a legitimate threat to people. And with the next threat in mind, I'm actually going back and reviewing the concept of the pods. Moving air from one pod into the next it's not going to work. That's a dangerous idea. So maybe some other plan to move air into the pods without moving them over to the next one. Hey, whoa, hold up. We're going to come back to this in a second after I get done with my Pod Home rant. Well, not rant, but please go check it out. I'm not asking for money. I don't need money. Please print out the information and take it to your city council. You've got to have a city or county board of supervisors or shire commission, I think they're called. Go to them with this idea and say, this is a thing and it's out there, and maybe we should look at it. You could put the entire homeless population of Los Angeles into a building the size of a parking garage. Yeah, parking garage. Cleanly and efficiently have them off of the streets and probably have them back to being full-fledged tax-paying citizens within about a year, provided they don't have a drug issue. If you have a drug issue, you got a bigger problem. I'm also going to say this. I've been there. I've done that. I know what being homeless is like. They say that all homeless people are drug addicts. First of all, no. And second of all, I can see why if you're homeless and hopeless, you might just go ahead and start smoking pot and escalate from there. Just to escape the reality of having your back chewed to death by bugs because you can't get rid of them. That's the truth. I still have the psychoschematic itch. It's been 6 years now? 7. It's been 7 years now. I still have a psychoschematic itch from that. It'll never actually go away. I can see why homeless people turn to drugs rather than drug addicts become homeless, at least in some cases. All right. Ozzy says, no bling bling bang bangs for Carrie. I don't want bling bling bang bangs. I want practical, reliable bang bangs. Pew pews. Right? Other people want Gucci. Great. Good for you. All right. Don't let me stop you. You want pretty and pink and purple and sparkly glitter and glitter? Great. Good for you. I don't want that. I want practical black metal or steel, which is, not particularly specially finished steel, that I know if I pull that trigger, it's going to go bang. I also want to be able to hit the broadside of the barn, which is something I cannot do, nobody can do, with a Kalashnikov. As he points out, addiction is a sign of a deeper issue. So sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's simply an addiction. But anyway, if you don't find a way to deal with that, you won't quit the chemical abuse. If your deeper issue is homelessness, Oh, Squatch, also, I want you to go check out InRange TV AK-47 mud test. Although it did better than the M1 Grand. But it didn't do even like 1/100th as well as I thought it would. I was absolutely fucking astounded. That's the gun that should have kept on going. And yet, strangely enough, it did exactly what a Marine who had been in Afghanistan in 2001. Yeah, 2001. Described. A Marine described it thus: the old farmer brought me the gun. I took my boot. I kicked the bolt open. I picked it up, squeezed the trigger. It went bang a few times, and then it jammed. And I was duly impressed. And I seen the video. I know what I saw. AR-15 in that same test, what they finally had to do to get it to stop going bang was run out of bullets. What they finally had to do in order to get an AR-15 to jam was remove the clip, lock the bolt open, kick dirt into the gun, give it one good hard shake, put the clip back in, and I think it still went bang once or twice and finally jammed. That's what they had to do to finally kill an AR. Just saying. I'm just saying. Um. Okay, Ozzy is unintentionally, perhaps, bringing up an interesting point. We can do a whole lot better about our whole healthcare system, and mental health is an important thing. Okay, we all have bad days. I've had like a bad 2 decades. Yeah, it'll be 2 decades come August. Um, Matter of fact, this is May, March, April, May. Yeah, yeah. My bad 2 decades starts last part of May, first part of June, when I was accused of being suicidal, falsely accused of being suicidal. Um, do please, for God's sakes, take care of your mental health. If you need some sort of specialized help, and this is in Daetslov too. I actually wrote this in there. Um, there are people you can go to hand your guns over. In 2003, when I actually did need help, I had Mama and Papa Carey to turn to. I remember I got up one day, turned. I haven't even drank my first cup of coffee, or maybe I was. I said, "Dad, I think I need the guns out of the house." An hour later, they were halfway ready. Um, Other people did not have that option. Now there are options. One of them is holdmyguns.org. They will put you in contact with somebody if you need a little bit of help for a while. Another organization is Walk the Talk America. I think it's WTTA.org. And you know what? Just you can still Google Walk the Talk America. They specialize in mental health issues for gun owners. That is literally what they do. I mean, they don't, as far as I know, they don't even take clients who are not gun owners. Yeah, that's specialized. And they do not require you to hand over your guns, unlike the little cunt at Sacramento County Health, who illegally told me I had to turn my guns in to get help with Sac County mental health. I know what she said wasn't true, but it was easier than fighting her. And besides, it was a gun I bought for exactly that reason. If I ever needed to hand one over, oh, here it is. It gave some homeless guy like 20, 15, $20. And I did him a big favor. There was metal fatigue on that cylinder that was so bad, I, as an anti-professional, could tell this gun wasn't safe to use. It rattled. It actually rattled. I probably did him a big favor by taking that off of his hands. Yeah. Well, it's not an if with me, but spend some tax money on prevention, for God's sakes. If it were up to me, Hold My Guns would be federally funded. It's not up to me, so take it for what it is. All right. So that's a shout out for Hold My Guns and Walk the Talk. We are now 2 hours and 15 minutes, which means I'm a couple minutes over. And by the way, if you do go talk to them, please, for God's sakes, don't tell them I sent you. They don't like me. I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here, folks. The Allen shooting could not have been a white supremacist because he wasn't white. He was just an evil little bastard and a false flag. The AR-15 man is dead in the water before it even launched. I don't give a flying fuck. Oh, by the way, I don't give a flying fuck if you're a furry. Just, go be a furry over there. Okay? And if you're already over there, I'll stay away from over there. That's not a problem. And trolls, if you're going to be a troll, at least be a halfway fucking intelligent one. Don't be a fucking retard. You make yourself look worse. Oh, I missed the first purpose. The first purpose of the Second Amendment was to enable the people to meet unlawful force with like force. Okay, for those of you that say the first tyranny, okay, shut up. There, I said it. Shut up. The chances of tyranny being a problem in your life are this big. The chances of somebody sticking a gun in your face to take your paycheck is this big. Is that big? Yes, tyranny has come up before. I'm thinking specifically of the Battle of Athens in 1948. I think it was 1948, when a highly corrupt, openly corrupt sheriff took the ballot boxes into the jail so he could change them. There, I said it. He was changing them. Well, he tried to change the ballots. I don't know how he was going to change them, but that was his intention. So he could keep his buddies in office. And the people of McMinn County was way too many World War II veterans for his little sheriff's office to hold off. They broke into the armory. They took every single fucking gun in the building and laid siege to the county jail, which is where the ballot boxes were being held. The sheriff had to sneak out the back way and ended up as a state senator 2 states over about 4 or 5 years later. He's lucky he didn't end up in his own jail. And by the way, my guess is, yeah, they would absolutely have fucking shot their way in and out if it had come to that. The chances that you will be robbed at gunpoint, well, statistically speaking, it depends on where you live. But seeing as how Mama Carey got carjacked back in 1992, I think it was 92 or 93. Yeah, my mom got carjacked. Matter of fact, I had to call Shasta County Sheriff's Office. I know it was Highway Patrol. I think it was Highway Patrol. She was like 3 hours late coming home from work, so I think I called the Highway Patrol, Sheriff's Office first, and then Highway Patrol, maybe, whatever, to ask if there was a traffic accident or something. And the lady on the phone said, "I can't discuss the details, but there has been an incident, and we'll let you know as soon as we can." That's in the backwater burg of Shasta County, California. Don't worry about it, Ozzy. They actually did find that guy a few years later. Pro tip. When your first carjacking does not go well, you're not cut out for that industry. All right. We're going to wrap it up there. Keep calm and mandatory carry on.